Hey, welcome back to Milton Daily Homes. Chuck here. We got a list of 38 properties. I apologize. Once we get past 30 on the list, it's very hard not only to film but also to watch. But hang in there. We're going to get right through all of them. And just click this price button right here and it'll order them in price. For some reason, when we come off the weekend with multiple days, it doesn't seem to work as well in terms of ordering the properties. So this first one is a first floor on Maple Crossing. The photos are real shrinky-dink photos, but it's right in the right range. Some resistance may be there for being on the first floor, but it's not exactly in the ghetto, so I wouldn't worry about that. $240 on the maintenance fees. Child's number 2 is, I think, outstanding value. $249.8 for a 4-bedroom condo townhouse. Yes, it has some fees attached. Yes, it's an original kitchen. At least they painted it. And I think we've got to hire the bed making service for some of today's listings. California shutters here, and about 1320 square feet with that finished basement too. So for the 4-bedroom, it's going to rock. This is basically entry point, and on top of that, you're actually getting some added value features too. So 1320 square feet, it's basically, even with the condo fees, the cheapest per month cost basically to carry a home with a yard. Now this one on Main Street 210, 314.9, it's an open concept layout, and then you've got the bedroom, and then you also have, because it's on the corner, you've got this nice little turret style in the second bedroom, which I think they've used very well, and you can see the wall art and the California shutters and all the rest of it too. Typically you're not getting dollar for dollar return on things like California shutters, but it does complement a nice looking home very well. $256 on the maintenance fees, I think, is pretty reasonable for the size of the home. We've got this one on Costigan at 604. It's the top floor, and it's the corner unit, so you're basically overlooking all the green space. It's probably one of the better views, I would think, in the entire building. The same model last year sold for a little bit less than 310, so at 339 I think they may be striving a little bit. They do have 2 parking spaces. They've got the better view. They're probably not that far off, but I think if they got this price, I would personally be very surprised. So Challenor is 339 end unit. So you're just a bit under 1,300 square feet. You've got an open concept dining family. It's the only kitchen in the 3-story village towns that actually has an eat-in area. And then you've got, they could have cleaned those shelves up a little bit. I mean, I always say is that, you know, you've got to put those bookshelves on a diet when you're listing too. So even the same thing, different colored pillows. Like, I think your bedspreads make a big difference in the listing. It sounds like something silly. Well, they're not taking my bedspreads. Well, guess what? Model homes, you're not buying their furniture either, but they do work. So that's one of the things to really think about when you're listing your home. Borrow from a friend. I mean, there's all kinds of bedspreads out there. Even our team, we've got 3 or 4 that we loan out to clients to use just because it's that important in the listing process. Gaisley Circle is 1,130 square feet. It's at 349. No finished basement. They enclosed the front porch, which I'm not sure if people are going to love, but it is functional. It gives you a place where you don't have to kick off your boots because this entrance is very narrow. They've done a good scale here with the dining room plus the family room. That's how it's intended in the builder's floor plans, but you really have to be careful. The other thing is, because of the size, there's not too much size there. The other thing is they did a half wall here, which is one of my favorites because now you can use that wall. If this is all open, you don't really have a lot of options to do something with that. And then you can shove the table right against the wall and then have a little breakfast, maybe 2, 3, 4 seats there. And everything looks good with this one. 349, they could get it. Barclay Circle is 399. It is a Croftside, 1,380 square feet. And they've done some decent upgrading in here. There's 9 photos, and there's only 1 in the basement. It doesn't really look like a basement, but that's certainly adding some value. We have seen this model with a finished basement do pretty well around that 390 mark, so they might have a chance near this price. I'd be surprised if they got that full ask though. So Mortimer is actually, I think, a pretty good deal. It's 1,681 square feet. They've upgraded the counters. Yes, you're going to have to buy appliances with it, which is unfortunate. You'd think someone selling the home would put some decent appliances in, but the dark cabinets, even hardwood floors on that main level, 5,000, you're done. And we've seen this model even sell in weird, like bad locations, like backing onto commercial space for over 400. So these guys should sell pretty quick. I think the size for this range for a townhouse is actually pretty desirable. Kingsley Court is a bungalow. It's 50 by 125 foot property. You can see they've done some moldings here, changed the kitchen around. And the bungalow is under 400. Definitely look at that. That's another bed that, like, you just sit there and go, were the pets on the bed before they took the photos? Either way, I think even though it's a bit of an old school retro bathroom, I think there's value in this one. I would have put a shot of the yard in here, but under 400 for a bungalow is definitely attracting attention and eyeballs. I don't think they're going to have any worries about selling this one. There was actually a home on Robinwood recently that just was up at around 430, and they sold within a couple days. So that one should do quite well. Farmstead is 414.9. We've got about a 1,500 square foot home, open concept. The kitchen has some decent upgrades, and they've got a finished walkout basement. Although the basement, if you have a look at the virtual tour, it's set up almost like an apartment style. It looks very sort of like all the rooms are very segmented, and I don't know if I love the quality of the finishes there. We've got the same model as this without the walkout, but with a gorgeous finished basement coming out tomorrow, and I think you're going to love it. So definitely check. It'll probably be on Wednesday's episode, and it is spectacular. It's better, I think, than most model homes that I've seen. So Raynor Court is 424,950. It's a semi-detached. It's 18 something square feet. And I don't know what that shot's supposed to represent, but it's an open concept kitchen. It seems like this is the going price for 1,800 square foot semis. I mean, we've even seen 1,500 square foot semis sell in the 420s. So these guys should do okay. For some reason, there's all double photos here, so you have to click double every time you have to move the photos. You know, they could do okay there. Duncan Lane is 429.9, and so we've got a finished basement on this one here. I thought this one had an offer on it, but I guess it's come back on the market, and finished basement, and then off we go. So it seems fair. I mean, as unbelievable as that is, I still find semis up at 430, facing train tracks no less. That's a bit of a stretch for me, especially when you see some of the detached homes. So you start to see where things start to clash. You see a detached 1,500 square foot home with a partly finished basement here and some decent upgrades. And I think that this would be, in my eyes, something that I would consider instead of a semi-detached for sure. So you've got your kitchen, you've got your family room, plus there's a front dining room which you could use as an office. You can close it off, kids' playroom, and then you've got your 3 bedrooms upstairs as well. And it looks like there's a rec room down in the basement too. So it looks like it's a mostly finished basement. Schreier is 1,600 square feet, 454.9, and taller cabinets here, the moldings, the upgraded countertops. Seems like it's going right. These ones at one point last year were selling up in like the 470s, and then they came back down. I think that this looks like it's a pretty fair range. Megson is 469, semi-detached with a finished basement, about 2,200 square feet of total living space. You've got hardwood on the main floor. And Rule is 469. It's the same model actually as the previous one. Not the one prior, but 2 before. 1,600 square feet. You can notice the similar finishes here. The paint color choices, I don't know if they're going to help them. They're very bold. Taking the stuff off of here makes a big difference. And you'll see a couple homes today where I just think the impression would be so much stronger if they just had gotten rid of some stuff. And just when you think you're done, mostly decluttering, is you have to take it about 10 or 20% further to really show up well in the pictures. But that home has 9-foot ceilings. I think the one at 454.9 is better value. Turner's 474.9. It does have kind of an apartment style setup in the basement. It looks a little bit older to me. I mean, this home is probably getting close to 10 years old, and it feels like it. It looks different than some of the stuff you see by the escarpment, some of the new stuff down south of the hospital. Yeah, that basement is the missing link on this one. I mean, you figure if you're getting $800 a month from the basement, that one carries like a townhouse, like a small townhouse, 350 or so. Lederman is a Plan 5 corner, 1624 square feet, 495. It's very nice. I don't know why they wouldn't have put appliances in here. $500,000, put some appliances in, and I would be surprised if they sold for this. These models have kind of sold all over the place, and it's nice inside, and I could definitely see that they're not that far off, but to get this kind of asking price, it seems like there's a lot of resistance for people, and the floor plan's not huge. It's just a kitchen plus one main room. So we've got this one here, 2025 square feet. It's the Shady Glen with the upgraded upstairs with the 4th bedroom, the larger ensuite, the larger closet. All those things that I think were wrong with the Shady Glen 1, these guys have fixed, and they've done a good job. Those nice thick moldings, I think, make a big difference to the impression. The HDR photography, I think, really adds something. Now, the only thing I'd be concerned about on Hood, and I haven't mapped where this one is, but some parts of Hood face dairy, some parts of Hood back onto a gas station, which obviously is not the case here, but you just want to check the location on Hood. But 509 seems like the going rate for a nice version of this home, and it's got a good floor plan. The main floor people really like. Sanderson is at 530. Basically a brand new home, but it's less than 2,000 square feet. So comparing across, you'd say, okay, get something on Hood for 510, or pay 20,000 more, and you get this home that is basically smaller. It's not equivalent value to me. McFerrin Crescent is 529. We're talking about an 1835 square foot home, and again, I don't see the value in something like this. I can appreciate the green space. There's probably about a 10, tops 20,000 adjustment for something like that. But still, to drop this to 510, the house itself you can find much larger for the same price. Caldwell's 533, and this is another one of those price ranges in the low fives where you start to hit those double garages, and it's very hard to compete with a lot of these homes. I would have taken some stuff off the counters there. It's basically one big open concept room, and the finished basement is probably the thing that's pushing this one up. It's not that far off in price. BD Trail is 534.9, and so the home itself is not huge, but it's got amazing green space, backyard behind, and so you're basically living family room, kitchen on the main floor, and they've done the rounded archway here. It's looking pretty good to me. It's not especially huge, but that yard definitely adds value. This one on 4th Line is a Carrington model. There's no photos of it yet. It's about 2,100 square feet. I really like the main floor. Busier street on 4th Line. I think they've taken that somewhat into consideration here. Nice thing is you can walk to the library, which is not too far from here. So if you have kids, that can be a great thing. Scott Boulevard, 546.9, and taking stuff off the top of the fridge, definitely a good option. These are all little tips that we look at when we're showing these homes to you. Come on, like the dark, no, that's not working. Forest, it looks like behind the house, and the house itself is not especially big. It's in the low 2,000 square feet. And yeah, that's the biggest thing, is that it backs onto the trail and green space. I almost look at that and say you're on Scott, but you back onto the trail. Does it cancel out? Depends on the buyer. Bessie Trail, 559. This is a courtyard home, and they haven't really shown. You can check the virtual tour to see what this is about, but the garage is actually in a laneway access from the back of the house. You take the garage off the main floor, and so now you're not building an L-plan design around the garage. You actually have a very open concept design. When you see something like this, I look at it and say, does it show that the kitchen doesn't have enough storage space? And so my recommendation is usually when there's something like that, like just a different pantry that's not built in, I usually say take it out. Same thing, hood fan, match it up with the appliances. For the cost to do that, it just makes sense. There's no way around that. That's your eat-in table, and then that's your access outside to the yard, and then you can see that there's a garage there too. Those garages come with and without an actual little nanny suite above too, so that can be a very positive thing. Hard to tell from this here if that is if there is actually space above the garage, but it's a neat floor plan. We don't see them list a lot. I haven't seen them probably in the better part of a year and a half. Scott Boulevard here is 569. Taking the stuff off the side of the fridge and the top is always a good thing. No more than 3 things on your counter should serve you pretty well, depending on the size of the kitchen. We call it the rule of 3. And you can see it's a relatively open concept design. That's a nice shot at the staircase, and off we go. So 569, 4 bedrooms. It's still not an especially huge home. 30th side road is 585, so we're looking at what looks like a triple car garage here. That kitchen is very small. I feel claustrophobic just looking at this kitchen, but at least it's got some nice cupboards in there, some built-ins and so on. Photos at night never seem to look good, and no shots really of the land. So that's one of the things that you definitely be looking at as the value on something like this. Field is $599, and so they've got some nice landscaping in the backyard. You've got a front living dining here, finished basement, which they've taken a bunch of pictures of, and then your kitchen. So you're probably looking at, well, I would say this home is probably about 2,200 square feet. There is a big master bedroom. And $599 is, there hasn't been a lot that's sold in this area, but when you look at the equivalent value, I think that it's on a good sized piece of property. They might get it. There's a little bit of variation in the prices there, so it's really hard to predict where these ones are going to go for. This one is about a 2,600 square foot home on Zest or Zoost, and most people call it Zoost, but I think it's Zest, according to a friend of the show, Colin Best. And so we've got hardwood floors. And by the way, Colin Best is coming to the buyer class on March 23rd, I think, a couple Saturdays from now. And 608, we have seen this model sell for that too. So Sydenham is 2,600 square feet. It's a Greenbrier home. One of my favorite floor plans. I think it's got a great layout. What's happened is that there was a really nice one with waffle ceilings, gorgeous finishes, like model home quality, and it sold. It was sitting around at 679, 659. Finally sold at like 640. Then something not as nice sold at 650, and these guys are looking at it saying, well, let's split the difference at 645. It's still typically it's still high for a 2,600 square foot home. But when you look at what else is for sale, there's not a whole lot. So that could be part of the reason why people are really commanding good prices, because the move-in ready homes in this range just seem to be turning over pretty quickly. McCutcheon is 659, a 3,300 square foot home. The closest comparable sale would be the one that's sold on Hill, the same model as this, for right around this price. And I don't think they're that far off at all. This model won the Model of the Year from the Greater Toronto Home Builders Association. The floor plan, the design, I think is absolutely exceptional. I mean, I sold one in the 900s probably just over a year ago. So Country Lane is 669, and it's on, let's see, it'd probably be about 2 acres here. We'll have a look at the description. My math may be a little bit off there. Neat cupboard here too in the kitchen, sort of an arched cupboard. It's almost very European, and taking some stuff out of the room here would have made a big difference. The bed making police would have had a problem with that, and the house itself actually looks pretty good for $669 for that size of home, about 1.5 acres. It actually looks like it's pretty well where it should be. Stern Place is actually the same model that I live in, about 2,850 square feet, and you've got a big front porch here, which is nice. The kitchen has tiles that go right into the family room, so I'm not sure how people are going to feel about that. You've got a living dining in the front, you've got a little office or a den or a kid's playroom on this side. There's your family room, so I'm not sure how people are going to feel about having the tiles. It's a little bit more of a California look, and I don't know if it shows incredibly well. But it's, you know, you look at the moldings and you take the furniture away and stuff like that, it could have some potential. 62 by 88 foot lot, which is very hard to find in any of the new parts, which basically are capping lots at 45 or 50. I don't think there's any builder doing 50-foot lots right now. So Homes is at $699. I actually think it's pretty good value. It's a nice big kitchen here. You've got some upgraded countertops. You've got your undermounted sink there. They've done a nice job on the staircase, some wainscoting, little extra stuff. So there's your master, and then potentially you might even have a little bit of a sitting area too. There's your ensuite, and you're backing onto some green space as well. Very nice. For less than 3,000 square feet at $699, I think that green space is going to add value. I don't know if they're going to get that price, but for those kind of homes, we do see that if they're looking good when you go in, they can really command a nice little extra push. Okay, so we've got 3,500 square foot here on Potts. Potts is a very quiet street. If you don't live on Potts, you don't go on it. And it's got a very nice open concept plan. Everything, really, the front hall is nice and wide. The staircase is nice and wide. You don't feel congested at all in this home. The backsplash really complements everything nicely. The countertops, you've got your fireplace too. You know, probably a little bit high on the price, but I think that it does show well, and it's on a quiet street, and it's got the 5 bedrooms, which is something that people definitely wait for. Now, Wet Loffer's at $849, and I would definitely take the previous one on Potts over this one on Wet Loffer. Even if there's a bit, this one's 3,300 square feet. And the thing that may give these guys an advantage is the fact if they're on Wet Loffer, yeah, so it says lot backs onto Greenbelt. That's the advantage over the one on Potts. But still, for 50,000 more, you say, is it worth it? Playfair is $939, and I believe it's the last out of a huge list today. And it is, I don't think you'd find a better looking home in all of Milton. It's like 3,900 square feet, plus there's a ton of space in the finished basement. You've got this gorgeous Heathwood 8-foot door, which is just an awesome impression when you first come in. And you can see that it shows just as well as a model home. Tons of money spent on upgrades here. The kitchen has a really nice, it's not a square design, it sort of comes at an angle, and it's just, and that's the kind of stuff, like when it's not ruthlessly efficient in space, it actually really creates a nice vibe, and it looks different than most homes that you see out there. So look at the basement there, it's a cork floor, fireplace in the master bedroom. You've got a huge ensuite here, and it is outstanding. It's on a big pie-shaped lot too, and at $939, we've definitely seen homes that have sold that are smaller than this, with less space, with less yard space. I actually think $939 is an outstanding price for this home. So that's the list for today, and it was a long one, and hopefully tomorrow will be a little shorter. We can actually do a little bit more analysis on each of the listings. But have a great day, and we'll see you soon with more Milton Daily Homes.